it looks like if the debate is not moved, you could have a real boycott. It looks like um, every candidate, I believe, well, one hasn't, has said that they will boycott the next debate, which is on the 19th, so next week, if it's not moved, because it's currently being held in a location where there is a labor union picketing, and the candidates do not want to cross the picket line. I'm not surprised. I don't think Joe Biden means it. I don't think Elizabeth Warren means it, but they really couldn't, they couldn't exactly, it's not a sustainable position to just let Bernie boycott it and look like the working class hero. So they're all boycotting it. I think that the DNC will be forced to move it because the DNC doesn't want to look, even though they don't care about labor, they optically need to pretend that they care about labor and unions. So to me, it will get moved. So that's not the issue. They're going to debate. It'll get moved. But we have to look at this next debate. At the moment, I believe there are 7 candidates that have qualified. Jen, check me on that. So I think this is the opportunity for Bernie to pounce. Many of you don't like it when I say, but he's kind of an odds and evens guy. One debate, he brings the fire. The next debate, he doesn't, and he holds back. Well, the last debate, he held back. He did not bring the fire. So I'm hoping this debate, he comes out like the dragon from Game of Thrones. I think now that it's down to, I wouldn't say 7 candidates is exactly manageable, but a little better than 12 in one debate. I think Bernie Sanders needs to aggressively go after Joe Biden. I think Bernie Sanders needs to, instead of, my friend Joe here and pontificating and blah, 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 he needs to breathe fire. He also, frankly, he needs to bring up the crime bill. He needs to put a dent in Joe Biden's African American support. Older African Americans are going to vote for Joe Biden, but he needs to pick off, even if it's 1% to 2% of those older African Americans. It makes a big difference. And a lot of those older African Americans, they might know that he voted for the crime bill, but don't know in depth those things. There was a story that just came out that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, in addition to getting $50,000 to do nothing on a Ukrainian oil company, had possession charges that quietly went under the rug while his father was fighting for the crime bill to jail black kids. I think Bernie Sanders needs to bring that stuff up. And I know it's not within his MO, but at the end of the day, you're in a street fight for the presidency of the United States, Bernie. And Biden, thanks to his allies in the media, has kept up. He has kept up the top spot in national polls, as well as he's at least competitive enough in Iowa and New Hampshire that I don't think he's going to be embarrassed at this point. But why I think it's so important for him to go against Biden, I don't think Bernie needs to worry about Pete, to be honest. I think other people will attack Pete. Why he needs to go after Biden is because Biden is the candidate with the most attainable voters to switch over to Bernie. A lot of the media has falsely said, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie are so close. No, that's just not true. As Elizabeth Warren has went down, her voters have been going to Pete because her voters are not working class progressives. Her voters are uber educated, professional class, kind of limousine liberals. Those are her voters. Obviously, she has significant support among women too, but her core voter is not working class and it's not multiracial either. Biden has a lot of voters, has a lot of voters making $50,000 or less and with only high school degrees. Those are the attainable voters for Bernie. So Bernie, he's brought up several times Joe Biden's vote on the Iraq war. Terrible. Not diminishing that. It's time to really go in depth on his votes on NAFTA. Really go in depth on his vote to repeal Glass-Steagall, which also is in large part responsible for all of these Walking Dead-like communities that had their an episode of The Walking Dead, who had their homes foreclosed on because the merger of investment and commercial banks. He is responsible for the bankruptcy bill. He is responsible for the predatory lending towards African Americans through that Glass-Steagall repeal. It allowed for African Americans to be disproportionately harmed during the 2008 financial crash. I have not heard any of this said by Bernie Sanders in the campaign trail. Bernie, if you want a friend, get a dog. Joe Biden is not your friend. He's not. I don't think Bernie needs to concern himself as much about Warren. I don't think Bernie needs to concern himself as much about Pete. They will duke it out. He needs to go after Biden. Not once, not twice, all debate. He should pretend that he's just debating Biden. Because to me, there is a lot of Biden supporters, and the polls show it, that are not 100% sold on Joe Biden. I also think, frankly, Joe Biden has not really had to defend himself on any of those things. If you see when Joe Biden is attacked, he can't defend himself because A, the facts are the facts, but B, I'm just being honest, he's not cognitively well. If you're cognitively declining, which he is, you're just not sharp. So if somebody who is cognitively sharp, like Bernie Sanders, comes after you on A, B, and C, he might be sharp on the first answer, but if you keep coming at him by the third, he might be stumbling like a piñata. Do piñatas stumble? I don't know. So the point is, I've been saying this since 2016. Bernie Sanders needs to stop with the niceties. He needs to stop, oh, my friend here. If you want to maintain your friends and have ginger ale with Joe in your later years on your porch, then you're not going to win the presidency. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.